So we're looking at fractions. We're looking at how to multiply, divide, add, and subtract. Okay, as you watch this video, I want you to keep in mind that if there's one topic, or I mean there might be a few, but there's one topic that might have caused discouragement or might cause discouragement for students, it's fractions. And some children might be afraid of fractions, but as you come into this video, I want you to come with the mindset of, okay, I'm going to tackle fractions now, and I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to do my best, and we're going to work together to see how we can conquer fractions and master them for the rest of our lives, okay? Now, of course, you should do the same thing with all the other concepts, but I just want to explain that as we look. So, as we look at this video. So, number one, in order to understand fractions, you need to understand numbers. You need to understand, I know it sounds straightforward, but actually if you understand prime numbers and prime factorization, then it will help, okay, in the long run. So prime factorization, okay, we need to know prime factorization, and we need to know, if we know the LCM, that would also come in handy, okay? But in order to understand the LCM, you need to know prime factorization. So you need prime factorization, which will help you to get to LCM, which will help you to learn how to add and subtract fractions. You see, again, you need the pieces. Don't run away. Face each one and do your best and use the mastery tracker to keep your progress. So when you're multiplying fractions, it's straightforward. The tops multiply, the bottoms multiply. Now, of course, you need to know how to multiply in order to do fractions. So what's 2 times 4? 2 times 4 is 8. And what's 5 times 7? We're looking at 35. So 8 over 35 is the answer to that one. The second one, if you have 2 over 3 times 3 over 7. I just want to point out something. Before you multiply, you're allowed to simplify. Okay? And so if you want to cancel those 3's, you can. You can choose to do, 6 over 21. You can write that. But then you would need to simplify. And in simplifying, you have to divide this by 3, divide that by 3. You're left with 2 over 7. Or you could have just canceled them to start with, and you would get 2 over 7. Back here now, when you divide fractions, you take the number to the right, you have to use the reciprocal of that. You flip it, right? And there's an explanation for that. We will not be looking at that in this video. So this becomes 2 over 5 times 5 over 1. So notice that I changed the number on the right. And this just becomes 2 because the 5's cancel. When you have two fractions that are added and they have like denominators, okay, there's like denominators, then you just add the numerator. And so this becomes 6 over 4, okay? The denominator stayed the same, so 6 over 4, but again, you would have to divide both top and bottom by 2, so you have 3 over 2, which is the same thing as, this is an improper fraction, by the way, but you can write that as 1/1/2, so 1 and 1/2, right? 1.5. So if you have 75 cents and 75 cents, so I convert them to decimals, you would have $1.50. So what if you're adding fractions that don't have like denominators? Well, this is where people begin to not appreciate fractions as much sometimes. Well, here's the thing. There's two ways to handle this. The first way will always get you there, but you might take longer than somebody who uses the second way. What is the first way I'm thinking about? If I take the number, the denominator of 1, and I multiply both the top and the bottom of the one on the left by that number, and if I take the one on the right and multiply by the denominator of the one by the left, I will get a common denominator. I will. That's going to become 30 over 50 plus 5 over 50. So then I have 35 over 50, which is the same thing as 7 over, if we divide this by 5, you get 7. Divide this by 5, you get 10. That's 7 over 10. But what if I used the lowest common denominator? Well, what is the lowest number possible that allows both 10 and 5 to go into it? The answer is 10. 10 is the lowest number, the lowest common multiple of 5 and 10. So if you have 3 over 5 plus 1 over 10, all you would need to do is to change the number on the left so that it has a 10 in the denominator. And how would you do that? You would multiply both the top and bottom by 2. So 2 over 2. So that becomes 6 over 10 plus 1 over 10. And that's 7 over 10. I'm done. Now this person is trying to simplify their fraction. But again, they got the right answer. Just might have taken a little longer, but they still get the right answer. This person used the LCM, and they got there much faster, possibly. But again, keep playing with numbers. You will master them. So quickly, let's look at subtraction. 2 over 7 minus 1 over 7 is just 1 over 7 because the rule applies the same. If you have the same denominator and you're adding or subtracting fractions, you just deal with the top, the numerators. Here again, we don't have the same denominator, so we have to find, let's just find the LCM. The LCM in this case, of course, is 45, so I multiply, by 5 over 5, and I multiply by 3 over 3. Why did I choose those numbers? Because I'm trying to get 45 in the denominator. So I use numbers that will help me get there. Now we're going to look at more examples of this. This is just an introduction, getting you familiar with fractions. And so you have 10 over 45 and you have 3 over 45. And that's, of course, if we're subtracting, then that's just 7 over 45. 7 is a prime number, and 45, 7 and 45 do not have a common factor there. So what if there's 3 terms? Should you be afraid? No. You use the same principle. If you want, you can take these 2 first. Whatever you get as an answer, you deal with the last part. So in this case, because both numbers are prime, you would actually have to multiply the top and bottom by 7. And here you multiply the top and bottom by 5. So we have 21 over 35 plus 10 over 35 minus 1 over 4. But we can actually change 1 over 4 we can change the 4 such that it has a common denominator. And how do we do that? We look at 35 and 4, we break down the numbers. 35, if we were to say 35 is equal to 5 times 7, and 4 is equal to 2 times 2, the LCM of 35 and 4 is actually 140. So you would change it so that they all have 140. But let's add that part. That becomes 31 over 35 minus 1 over 4. So I would have to multiply both top and bottom by numbers that would change the denominator to 140. I'm going to stop here in this video, and I'm going to challenge you now to try doing what I just described, using the principle, and see if you come up with the right answer. Now let's talk after that. Have a wonderful day.